What's up everyone, Op Soldier here today, and we are going to talk about something that's a little bit more controversial in the FGC in general. So, I get this all the time in Twitter. Excuse if you can hear any noise from the background. I'm sorry, the lawnmower guys, they're mowing the lawn, but I get this all the time in Twitter where I will talk about a fighting game, right? Because I love fighting games. It's not just Mortal Kombat 11. Yes, I am focusing on Mortal Kombat 11 currently, only because of EVO, right? Like, if there wasn't a major tournament coming up right now, I'd be focusing on a different fighting game. And that's because I love fighting games. I want people to get into fighting games. I want people to enjoy every fighting game they can. I think that it's actually better to maybe focus slightly on one fighting game and then play a bunch of fighting games compared to just going all out in one fighting game. I do feel like that's kind of, we'll probably talk about that for another day, but I do feel like sometimes people limit themselves with only playing one fighting game. I do think there's more things that people can enjoy. If you like NRS games, there's probably another fighting game you can actually really enjoy playing. You just have to go out and explore. It's no different than when you travel. There's probably another country you're going to enjoy. So you probably enjoy more than one country, even though you might have a preference for one particular country to visit or live in. So with fighting games, the thing that I just want to stress is basic features for fighting games, right? So I've commented before in a lot of tweets, and a lot of people have always kind of made statements for their fighting game. They'll usually say things like, well, the game has rollback netcode, or, well, the game has a really dedicated Discord, or all these things that, to me personally, aren't very good reasons to enter into a fighting game. That's probably the best way to put it, right? Because, yes, there are basic features that are good for you to get into, but the problem is things like a story mode, lack of story mode, things like not much to do outside of the 2v2 mode or the 1v1 mode, things like having to learn difficult combos, having to learn multiple characters. I'm looking at you, King of Fighters. Having missing features at the beginning of the game. So something as simple as practice mode not having frame data, practice mode not allowing you to switch sides, not allowing you to switch characters. These are all basic things that we find in games like Mortal Kombat 11, Street Fighter 5, the newer games, or the games that get supported constantly, right? Now, I'm not saying that developers can't support these games in the long run. King of Fighters, again, is actually a really good example of this. Over time, it's continuing to get support. They're finally trying to fix their rank mode that's been bugged for the past few months, right, since the game's release. But the thing is, these are features that should already be sorted out during the game, before the game's release, right? These are things when you're a developer and you're like, okay, what can we do to get players into our game? Whether it be casual players or fighting game players that want to learn a new system or a new game and want to enjoy a new fighting game. Maybe this is the first time they're getting into the game, right? These are things that you need to consider before the game is released, right? Now there's a chance that they could change down the road, and yes, that could get new players into the game, but if you don't have these features at the beginning of the game, how can we, I guess, for lack of a better word, trust you to continue to add updates that allow casual players or new players to come and enjoy your game? Now, I'm not saying these fighting games shouldn't be played. I'm not saying that we shouldn't take for granted the things that we do have, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't grind the game. I think if you really like a fighting game, grind it regardless of the modes, right? We grinded MK9, and MK9 didn't have any practice feature modes. It was literally little to nothing, right? But what I am saying is we need to stop giving devs the pass. We need to stop saying, oh, this game is fine because we have rollback netcode. That should be a standard feature in fighting games. Fighting game developers should have to compete, or fighting games should have to compete with each other because this game over here might have more features than this game that you're talking about, right? The reason why I'm saying this is because fighting games are never going to change unless we have competition. And defending missing features, defending lack of features, defending, like in 2022 at that, right? Defending, you know, not good visuals, whatever, it doesn't really matter what it is. Whatever it is that's not getting people into the game, and whatever it is that's missing that allows you to enjoy the game less. I think defending these things is not very beneficial for developers, and it really limits the future of the FGC to grow. I don't think MK11 compared to King of Fighters or Dragon Ball FighterZ that has delay-based netcode, I don't think they're on the same level of being able to get new players into the scene. I think if you were to learn a new fighting game right now, the best one would be MK11 or a Street Fighter. Well, granted, Street Fighter doesn't have a really good netcode, so that's probably not a good example. But something I noticed is with Street Fighter 6 and its new interactive open world mode, and Soul Calibur 6 with its kind of creative character class, this is really, really beneficial for people who just want to enjoy the game or get into the game by just enjoying it on a casual level. You know, games like that, or Skullgirls even. Skullgirls has like really well supported netcode. Like games that clearly they have a good tutorial mode, they have all these good features you need to get into the game, even if they're difficult, right? Strive's another good example. These are all very good games and really well supported games, and they have a lot of good features so you can get in. I don't think games with little to no features and us using rollback as an excuse is a good enough argument for games not being able to add more modes for newer players to get in. I had a really bitter taste when it came to KOF. I still like the game. I think the game looks amazing competitive. I think that it's going to be one of those games that I'm really going to enjoy playing competitively. But if I were like a casual player or just someone who just wanted to try out a new fighting game, KOF would have my attention for a month at most, because there's just not much to do. And there's so many things you have to learn. And unless you want to grind the game, I just couldn't justify playing it for longer than that. Honestly, a week, to be honest with you. But that's just my opinion on it. I'm kind of going to just leave this here. I think this is one of the main reasons that American fighting games don't take off outside of like Skullgirls and MK, is just because of this. Like, there's just so many features that you need to like really hook in the American scene, especially when it comes to fighting games, because there's just so many other games that have all these features. Story mode, like I could just name COD right off the bat. Story mode, multiplayer, you know, co-op. You know, fighting games should have some sort of co-op, and that's totally possible. We're seeing that with multiverses, like all these good things. Like, and like as you saw with multiverses is really well received because it has all these features. So anyway, that's all I want to talk about today. This is just kind of, this topic is my baby, because I can't stress how many games I go in and I'm like, wow, it doesn't have all of these things, and this is 2022. Like, how am I going to enjoy this game unless I grind it, or unless I like play a character and learn a bunch of combos and like actually want to get decent at the game? Because I can't enjoy it on a casual level. There's just not much to do, you know. Or yeah, oh wow, this doesn't have rollback netcode, and you know, how am I supposed to play this online even if I want to enjoy it against other people? Now I have to use the single player content, which is lackluster, you know. But anyway, that's all I have to talk about today. You guys have fun playing fighting games, and have a good fight.